Donnie Brasco, starring Johnny Depp and Al Pacino, is a Hollywood blockbuster. But the real-life friendship between hitman Lefty Guns Ruggiero and FBI agent Donnie Brasco is the stuff of legend. Lefty rises through the ranks of one of New York's most powerful crime families.
He was making a reputation for himself as a stone-cold killer.
Until Donnie Brasco brings him down.
Operation Donnie Brasco was one of the most successful undercover operations the FBI ever conducted.
Benjamin Lefty Guns Ruggiero is a trusted hitman for New York's powerful Bonanno crime family. By his 50s, he's believed to be responsible for dozens of mob hits, but also for bringing ruin to the family.
The Bonanno family was one of 5 major organized crime families in New York. They were into a host of crimes like jewelry theft and truck hijackings and loan sharking, gambling, fixing horse races and lotteries. I mean, you name it, they were into it.
Ruggiero is a Bonanno family foot soldier.
He gets the nickname Lefty because he throws his dice with his left hand. And he got the nickname Guns, or Two Guns, because he used to carry 2 guns when he went out on a hit. In those days, gangsters had access to sort of old, well-used handguns, and often one of them would jam. So Ruggiero liked to have a backup.
As Lefty rises through the Bonanno family ranks, he becomes a trusted hitman.
Ruggiero was making a reputation for himself as a stone-cold killer. He does what he's told and carries out his jobs with no questions asked. Word on the street was that by the mid-1970s, Ruggiero had carried out more than 24 mob hits.
There's a reason the Bonanno family won't give Lefty the promotion he's hoping for. He has a gambling addiction.
He loved to gamble, and he loved his horses. Gambling was just part of his everyday world, and unfortunately, he lost a lot of money doing it.
By 1977, Lefty's love of gambling has him $160,000 in debt.
Ruggiero couldn't become a made man in the Bonanno crime family until he paid off his gambling debt. See, there's no way he could funnel money to the family if he's paying off this really big debt.
Essentially, the mob and the people who ran the family did not want him to be distracted from making money and passing money up the chain to the Don. So he had to take care of this gambling debt before they inducted him.
While crippled by financial losses, Lefty meets a man named Donnie Brasco.
The guy who said his name was Donnie Brasco used to play craps in a New York club that mobsters used to go to. So one day, Brasco gives a whole bunch of diamonds, he said they were stolen diamonds, to the bartender and asked him if he could help sell them. And a few weeks later, the bartender did so, and he handed him an envelope full of cash. So from that point forward, Donnie Brasco was known as Don the Jeweler.
37-year-old Brasco claims he's a burglar and jewel thief, and the Bonanno family takes notice.
A Bonanno family member named Tony Mira met Donnie Brasco and introduced him to Ruggiero. Now, as far as Mira and Ruggiero were concerned, Brasco was a very successful jewelry thief and making a lot of money, and that would be good for the family. He was a good fit. They liked the guy.
Not long after they meet, Lefty becomes like a mentor to Brasco.
In a weird way, it was kind of like a father-son. You know, he kind of took him under his wing.
Ruggiero thought that Brasco could be a real solid earner for the Bonanno family and help him pay off his gambling debts. That would put him in good standing with the family.
But what Lefty doesn't know is that Donnie Brasco is really an undercover agent for the FBI, named Joe Pistone.
Joe Pistone, a.k.a. Donnie Brasco, is probably the most famous undercover agent in history. In the Hollywood film version, he's played by Johnny Depp.
Joe Pistone was an FBI agent who was recruited by the FBI to go undercover in the mob. Their idea was to have him infiltrate a mob family. And he was a perfect candidate because he came from New Jersey, knew the ways of the mob, knew the way they talked, the way they acted, the way that they dressed. And all of that was very important to his survival because he had to fool people who were killers. And if he did not fool them, he'd be a dead man.
Unbeknownst to Ruggiero, Brasco's stolen jewels actually belonged to the FBI.
Joe Pistone went to gemology classes to come off as a jewelry expert. The FBI gave him access to all kinds of jewels from their evidence locker. So the jewelry would go from the FBI to Pistone and Pistone to the mob, where Pistone, as Donnie Brasco, said that he stole them. It was a great setup. Ruggiero had no clue what was happening.
In the first year of their partnership, Brasco gives Lefty the boost he's been looking for.
Every time Ruggiero sold jewelry that Brasco gave him, Brasco kept 50%. Ruggiero had the other 50%, but half of that he gave to the Bonanno family.
With Lefty's fortunes changing, the Bonanno family takes note.
In the summer of 1977, with the help of Joe Pistone, Lefty Ruggiero was ultimately inducted into the mob, became a made man.
After that, the friendship between Brasco and Ruggiero deepened. Ruggiero started telling Brasco about other Bonanno family associates and a host of crimes they were involved in. Brasco took that information and passed it on to the FBI, who started building a case against the entire family.
Lefty's business partnership with Donnie Brasco has grown into a deep friendship.
They had only just met that same year, but they were already really tight. They were working together every day. Ruggiero really thought that Brasco had his back. They were making a lot of money.
While the heads of the major crime families of New York debate what to do about the troubled Bonannos, Donnie Brasco expands his undercover operation in another direction, dragging Lefty along with him.
In 1980, Brasco and Ruggiero started loan sharking and bookmaking out of a nightclub in Holiday, Florida, just north of Tampa, called the King's Court Bottle Club.
So the club that was opened by Ruggiero, at least he thought he opened it, along with Brasco, was actually run by the FBI. The FBI wanted Brasco to bring Ruggiero down there, establish themselves as mafiosi from New York so that Brasco could infiltrate the Florida mob as well. Ruggiero and Brasco go down there, introduce themselves. They get the imprimatur from the Florida mob. They say, as long as you kick back to us, then you can run whatever you want to run down here is no problem. And the FBI realized now that they had an investigation that had expanded exponentially now.
Once again, Brasco helps Lefty make a substantial profit for the Bonanno family and feeds the FBI the names and activities of everyone he meets, while Ruggiero travels back and forth between Florida and New York. Brasco runs the King's Court Bottle Club full-time. For months, Brasco succeeds in deceiving Lefty until he makes a crucial mistake.
Part of Brasco's persona was that he was a really plugged-in jewelry thief. He arranged to have this party on this big, beautiful yacht that was in Florida to impress Ruggiero, to impress the mob down there. And the hope, of course, was that once he had shown them what he could do, that they would take him in even more. So he had this party on this beautiful yacht called the Left Hand. And unfortunately, that yacht appeared shortly after that party on the cover of Newsweek, on the front page of the New York Times, because it was used by the federal government in the Abscam investigation. And that created a little firestorm.
Lefty says nothing to anyone, but asks Brasco about the boat.
Ruggiero knew it was the same boat because of the name, the Left Hand. He remembered it. But somehow, Brasco managed to talk himself out of it.
They tried to set us up on that. Forget about it.
He chastised Brasco, but he kept it to himself rather than to bring it to the people who were running the family. Ultimately, that was going to cost them.
By 1981, the Bonanno Civil War reaches a breaking point.
Ruggiero was one of the best executioners in the Bonanno crime family. So he knew when the time came, his boss, Napolitano, was going to tap him to take out those who had rebelled against the leaders of the family.
In April of 1981, the heads of the leading New York crime families finally come to an agreement about the warring factions within the Bonanno family.
Ruggiero told Brasco that the Mafia Commission was going to support Napolitano against Sonny Red and the other rebel captains. So they chose the right side.
Lefty gets ready for an order from Napolitano to take out Sonny Red and anyone else who opposes them.
There was a meeting set up between Sonny Red, Indelicato, and Sonny Black, Napolitano. And the idea was to a sit down, to come together, to make a peace so that they could all live in harmony and they could all make money as good Bonanno soldiers.
The two groups met in the storeroom of a New York restaurant. It was less a sit-down than a showdown. It was an ambush. It was a bloodbath. The Bonanno leadership was settled for good. Napolitano was now acting street boss, and Ruggiero and Brasco had more respect.
But the assassinations also offer the FBI a chance to put high-level Bonanno members in jail for murder.
So once the three murders occur, it was easy for the FBI to now amp up the investigation and to start collecting as much information, both from Brasco, from wiretaps, from witnesses, whoever they could tap into to put the Bonanno family out of business, essentially.
Brasco and the FBI record Lefty's every word, hoping to get a taped murder confession.
So on May 8, 1981, as part of this amped-up investigation that the FBI is now involved in, where they're taping everything, trying to get as much evidence as possible, they capture a conversation in which Ruggiero tells Brasco, "Don't worry, we're winners." And that's a major admission on Ruggiero's part. Puts him right in the middle of a case that's going to be built by the FBI.
But without even realizing it, the Bonanno brass turned the tables on the FBI.
Bonanno leaders wanted one more traitor dead, and Napolitano wanted Brasco to deal with it. He ordered Brasco to kill Bruno Indelicato, Sonny Red's nephew, and one of the assassins of Carmine Galante.
Sonny Black gives that job to Brasco to do. In fact, he gives him a gun. Now Brasco's in a bind because he's an FBI agent and he can't kill anybody.
Lefty is excited that his friend has been given such a great opportunity.
In fact, this was the place or the time when Ruggiero realized that, wow, if he does this, he's going to become a made man. They'll make him a made man because he's now killed somebody on behalf of the family.
But for Agent Joe Pistone, it's a deal breaker.
So now Brasco / Pistone is at a major crossroads, and the FBI realizes that. So they come up with a plan. They will simply take, or attempt to take, Bruno Indelicato off the street so that Brasco can't reach him, can't find him, can't kill him.
But the FBI's plan fails.
They're not lucky. They can't find him. He's gone into hiding, and Brasco now is still under orders to kill Indelicato. Even though he can't find him, he still has this kind of sort of Damocles hanging over his head that he's got to do this or he's going to expose himself.
The FBI has no choice but to end the operation. They terminate the identity of Donnie Brasco, and Brasco once again becomes FBI agent Joe Pistone.
Pistone was disappointed that he had to blow his cover. No one had ever infiltrated the mob so deeply.
When Brasco's true identity is revealed, it destroys the men who trusted him most.
On July 28th, FBI agents visited Napolitano's apartment. They told him about Joe Pistone's true identity. Now, they were hoping to rattle Napolitano enough that he would slip up. Napolitano and Ruggiero, they don't believe anything the FBI has said. They actually think the FBI is playing games with them in order to, start problems in the family.
Lefty and Napolitano may not believe Brasco was a mole, but the rest of the Mafia leadership does, and they want blood.
Once the whole Pistone-Brasco situation is out in the public now, the five families all know about it, Sonny Black Napolitano is called to a meeting where it's ostensibly going to be a discussion as to what occurred. He gets to this meeting, he's pushed down the stairs to a basement, and he's executed because he's the guy that allowed an FBI agent to infiltrate the Bonanno family.
Napolitano's body was found in Mariners Harbor, Staten Island, New York, with his hands chopped off at the wrist, and that was a sign. His hands were removed because he was responsible for causing an FBI agent to shake hands with members of the mob.
Lefty's life hangs in the balance, as both the authorities and the mob are determined to bring him down. In August 1982, Lefty is found guilty of numerous charges.
In addition to being convicted under RICO, Ruggiero was convicted of the underlying crimes, the racketeering crimes, bookmaking, loan sharking, dealing in stolen jewelry, conspiracy to commit murder, and Ruggiero was sentenced to 15 years in prison.
Lefty is one of over 100 gangsters Joe Pistone brings down.
Operation Donnie Brasco was one of the most successful undercover operations the FBI ever conducted. They were able to secure 200 indictments, over 100 convictions, and were able to get information about the mob that was invaluable for future investigations.
When the Mafia family heads learned that Ruggiero refused to testify for the government, they canceled the contract on his life. He had stood by his oath, and he continued to do so even while in prison, refusing every opportunity to give an interview.
Ruggiero was released from prison in 1992 after serving 13 years. On November 24, 1994, only 13 months after being released from prison, Ruggiero dies of lung and testicular cancer. But his secrets don't die with him.